Okay, let me start that again with my mic on. Hello, I'm Alex from A.P.Ink. Today I'm going to be picking up where I left off last time. I've been slowly trying to create my own font. So previously I have A already done. I I don't have that in arm's reach to show you all. Just trust I already did it. But last time I got through K. So B, G, I've been trying to figure a way to incorporate the uppercase and the lowercase. So to try to put the lowercase shape inside the uppercase, so like they're both represented. So B, G, C, H, D, I, E, J, E, G, no, E, J, F, K. So this time, I, we'll see exactly how many of these I get through, but I'd like to try to finish off the alphabet. So this is just graph paper glued on top of an index card for stability. So I've got a 4B pencil, a ruler, a 1.0 fine liner. So I'm just gonna try to lay out an L. So I am trying to keep these kind of in scale with each other. So this is 1 3/4 inch by roughly 2 1/4. So I'm going to try to keep these in that same scale. Really quick, let me sharpen the pencil. Actually use inches instead of millimeters. I think that was 1 3/4. Okay, so with some of these, I've made kind of like the back wall fatter to try to make room for the lowercase, like I did here with the C and the H and the G, which I have already gone through and digitally edited these, and I've changed this, the lowercase g. But I think here, I'm not exactly sure how fat I want this back wall to be. Fat, thick, whatever. But I'm thinking to actually put a little bit of like a lip or I don't know if that makes sense. I am dyslexic, so I do have a couple of references for alphabet here, just to make sure I'm drawing these the right way. Both of the references that I have don't actually have the kind of extension I was thinking about. What I was thinking was to actually have like an extension come up like this, but I think that might be seen more for like the G. Like here, it has this little bit that sticks out. So I think this would just make things more confusing. Okay, and then for the lowercase l, okay, so L and then M. I don't know, I'm thinking for M and probably for W, I might extend these out a little bit more beyond 1 1/4 or 1 3/4, maybe a full 2 inches. Or at least closer to 2 inches. I'm not sure if this is really going to read as an M. To have the same kind of wider band here. I might have, well, I'm just thinking the placement for the lowercase m, I'm going to need somewhere to put that. I don't think this is going to work for M. This might work for N. Okay, so uppercase N, and then I'll just do M on a separate one. Maybe it'll get its own card. I have been trying to keep the angles on these like square, which has not made this easy. I'm not sure if that really works for a lowercase n. I think this one is pretty straightforward. The uppercase n, I think, works. I'm not sure about the lowercase n. I think I want to wait until I finish these before I go through and do the line art. So moving on to M. I don't want to make this massive, but I'm thinking maybe 2.5 for this. Let's see if I can squeeze it in. So a thick section here again to try to keep room for the lowercase m. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to extend it a little bit further. Again, I don't want it to end up taking up the entire card, but let's see if I can actually fit a lowercase m in here. So here you can see the little kind of arm. Maybe you can see it just before the first hump in the M, and then here you can maybe see the same thing where there's like a post, I guess, before the curved. But here, if I did that, I think it would either take away or like squish this first. Hello. Yeah, more alphabet. I don't know. I'm thinking it might work without this post. I think that just makes it too busy. But then to finish the M. Maybe like that. How are you doing, Asakura? Okay. I think maybe to try to fit the O in the section that's left here. Okay, maybe not. It's windy there. You should go out and fly a kite. And then I think to incorporate the smaller O, I'm going to put the center kind of off-centered for the lowercase. I don't know if that is really going to read, but I think it kind of is in line with the other letters I've done so far. I don't know. I guess that works. It kind of reminds me of a deviled egg. Okay, P. At least I'm not the only one who has to do that, that's a curve. I was gonna curve the back part here, but I think the back section is more square and the curve comes more in the front. The struggle is absolutely real. Okay, so to go back to some of the other letters I've already done, like B, I'm heavily relying on the outer shape to indicate what it's supposed to be, um, and hoping that the viewer can see the lowercase b in the cutout. But for here, um, I don't know. There's supposed to be a bit of a peg, or I don't know what to call it. This bit that sticks up, so there's like a stick, I guess. I don't know if that's really gonna come across here. So the lowercase won't necessarily be in line with the cutout for the uppercase P. See, I don't know if this is really kind of in line with the A that I've already done, because I used the lowercase a to cut out cut out for the upper section and the lower section in the A. So I'm not sure if I should actually be trying to make these cutouts be in line with the cutout for the uppercase. So if I did that, the upper or the lowercase should actually be up here instead of down here. Except I've already done so many of the others. Although, because I've already done B and D, maybe the uppercase or the lowercase should be further up, just so it kind of like matches these two. Except I think without this little stick or whatever, I think it would just look like a P within a P. Like an uppercase inside an uppercase instead of a lowercase inside of a lowercase. Except for the B and the D, both of them have this same division between the straight and the round. But I'm not sure how else you would determine a lowercase from an uppercase in this situation. Because it's basically the same shape. It's not the same as the uppercase versus lowercase for the B or D. I thought maybe if I narrowed up how much room this takes, but I think to take up the entire width of the grid space might make more sense. So maybe like that. I'm gonna let that set and move on to the next. Come back to it, see if it kind of works. Okay, so Q. I wish it would sort itself out. It would make this so much easier. Make me do all this thinking. So many, excuse me, so many of the uppercase Qs have this kind of kickstand. So I think to actually shrink. Okay, that won't really work. I was gonna say to narrow it up some, but if I'm gonna kind of do the same thing that I've done with the N and the L, I'll probably try to squeeze the lowercase q in here somewhere. So it will likely have to take up the entire space here. See, if this was a regular Q, the kind of kickstand would be about here. I'm thinking about somehow incorporating this part here with the kind of leg or foot of the lowercase q. That would kind of go against like the rest of them where I've had the lowercase kind of off to this side. I mean, I guess it would help it stand out a little bit from the O. Just trying to figure out how to put the kind of leg in or foot or whatever. So like I'm not sure about this. The Q will never tip over. I mean, except for the fact that these are cut out. If I do this as a cutout, this part wouldn't actually be a thing. If I just make the two separate from each other. Trying to decide where I should actually put the lowercase q then. Maybe like this. Okay. Move on to R. And then for the lowercase r. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish this today. It would be nice, but I'm not really going to push for it. If it happens, it happens. I see you're still working on X-Men fan art. I think I saw the one you did for Jubilee yesterday. I think it was yesterday. For the S, I'm thinking to make the bottom section the fat one to make room for the lowercase s. Hopefully the S shape doesn't get lost too much. I will be right back. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to fit in this lowercase s and maybe call it for the day. Let these set, come back to them next time, make sure that these actually hold up. There might not be enough room here to actually try to fit the lowercase s. So if I fatten this section up further, that means narrowing these two sections. But I feel like narrowing it up this way, I should narrow it up this way too. That looks wrong. I don't like this. I want to see if I can actually get the lowercase s in somehow. Maybe instead of trying to put it here, I could fatten up this section here Is it raining here? No. Okay, so if I fatten up this section here, I don't think that gives me enough room for the S. For the lowercase. You hear a white noise? I can't hear anything. Maybe it's some kind of feedback with the mic? Okay, because I'm not hearing anything on the playback. I mean, I could... I was gonna say I could kind of... knock the corners like this to try to imply more of a rounded look. But if I do that there, I think I should do it here too. Try and put in the lowercase s here. I think push this up a little bit more. I hope it will be easy. I don't like how this is looking. I really don't want it to take up that much room, but I feel like with how I'm doing these, I kind of don't have a choice. So maybe like that. Okay, I really was hoping I could finish this, but I've got L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S done. But I'm gonna let these sit and come back to them and maybe do the line art first thing next time if these actually hold up, because like I'm not sure about this N. I'm not sure about the Q, the lowercase s, the S in general, really. But yeah, hopefully next time I can finish these and then move on to the next. So T through Z is what I've got left to sketch out. But yeah, thank you, Asakura, for hanging out. Thank you to anybody else who watched or watches. If you'd like to see this maybe be finished next time, please make sure that you're following me and that your notifications are turned on so that you're notified for the next time I go live. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.